Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cast 5 Reviews, where we review tons of things. But for this particular series, we are reviewing the one and only series that's making a grandiose return later on this year. I believe in October. I should have double Googled this before, but I'm talking about none other than Bleach. Look at this beautiful cover right behind me.
Bleach.
Look at that, him with his little bankai, you know. What's going on, guys? Season 3. We've been waiting for this for a very, very long time. How you guys feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Did a little bit of a recap on season 3, and a lot of memories started flooding back. A lot of good memories.
I think I was really thrown off how much I say this every single video, how much I really enjoyed them. But this, I do believe I can see why this is one of those seasons that everyone says unilaterally that Soul Society arc was one of the best arcs in the entirety of Bleach. But go ahead, Theo. What about you?
Fully agree.
Yes.
Definitely my favorite arc of the entire story. Period. I think it was the arc that fully sold me on Bleach.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, it was the one that maybe, I guess, take the dive and just go, yeah, I'm starting the manga after this.
Just right into the manga, right?
Season.
Yeah, no, I started reading the manga here as well. But before we dive into all of this, to our new audio listeners, welcome. To the video watchers, welcome. We are Cast 5. We review entertainment, news, anime, movies, games, you name it, whatever news that matters to us, and hopefully it matters to you as well. So this way you can stick around. We have been streaming Demon Souls. This is a little bit of housekeeping. We've been streaming Demon Souls, Final Fantasy 14. We have a few more reviews planned, which is for Uncharted, and a couple of previews for the new games that are going to be coming out. We do a weekly podcast and bi-weekly review Bleach. For our return viewers, thank you so much for coming back. We appreciate this a lot. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content as much as we enjoy making them. But my name is Fayez. I am joined by my two castmates throughout this entire journey that we've been taking, Theo and Ferhad. This is beautiful because the timing couldn't be better. Your names popped up as I mentioned it. That's how we do it, Ferhad.
Perfect timing.
That's how we do it. But yes, season 3.
Third season.
Let's see
if they will remember our names by the final season.
I hope so. I sincerely hope so. Season 3, The Rescue, 2005 to 2006. Original air dates in the US 2007 went all the way up to 2008, May 11th. This is the season where not only the fact we don't get to see a lot of Ichigo, but when we do get to see him fighting, it's just one badass moment after another. But what I really, really admired about this season was how different it felt compared to the first two. Like, the first season was very Monster of the Week. Second season was Soul Society. This is the world that we've been building up to. This is the afterlife. We have police in every single district. Gotta stop people from stealing water and candy.
Like the setting.
Exactly.
It set up the setting and
give us
a bit of exposition here and there.
Exactly, right? But here they introduce something that I really think is one of the main reasons why I enjoyed it, and I wonder if you guys feel the same way. They showed us captain on captain fights. They showed us what a captain class with bankai on both sides would look like. And it wasn't just one fight. It was one after another after another. Like, in the second season, they introduced us to the whole Gote 13 and how every 13 every single squad has a captain and a lieutenant, so that's a lot of Zanpakutos to go through. But here it's like, what if we kind of throw them into the mix and see how they feel? Because Ichigo to me kind of felt a bit stagnant. Like, I mean, we saw him take on a captain level, so he's reached that captain level. But in terms of growth, it was more towards his abilities then, right? But for the captains, that's been there for a very, very long time. It's an interesting mix to kind of throw them in there and see how they react, especially during a murder mystery and that amazing fight with Uryu Ishida, the last Quincy.
I definitely feel the same way about the whole captains on captain fighting too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really see that with other animes. You know, when you see like a new group, or like I guess the group you're up against, you don't see them really immediately fighting out, like, you know, fighting each other, being like, "Hey, did you do it? Hey, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do that night?" And then you just kind of see like everything kind of just crumbling over Aizen's death, and it's just like it just takes one captain's death to kind of just make everything go to shit. And then what make matters worse, here comes Ichigo flying into like a crater into the Gote 13 to get Rukia out. So it's just like a big shit show for them. So I really did like the whole captain on captain fighting.
What about you, Theo?
Same, like in other animes, like for example Naruto, usually when when new group appears, it's like Naruto and his friends fights the new group who are all the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Here is like immediately first in the last season 2, you fight the Soul Society. And then for reasons or another, now some of those people that you fought are on your team. Not because of friendship though, but because they just had their own reasons. And I mean, with the amount of captains that they had, 13 and all, they had to have some way to show the bankais. What better way than captain versus captain? Can't have Ichigo fucking taking them all in.
100%.
I mean, that would be fucking overpowered if he took every captain. Way too soon overpowered. So yeah, they handled it really well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the fact that with Ichigo, even with his powers, we get a little bit more of an explanation about how Getsuga Tensho works. He absorbs his Ryatsu and just shoots it in a high density beam, which kind of makes sense because he is just an anomaly when it comes down to how much spiritual pressure he just has in general, more so than Kenpachi. But we get to hear the backstory of Yoruichi, and on top of that, Mr. Hattenclogs. I'm forgetting his name. Urahara Kisuke. Like, we get to find out what their motive and everything is, and the introduction of one of the most revered villains, at least to my knowledge, and me growing up with anime, Aizen motherfucking Sosuke. Like, this guy had plans over plans over plans.
He was like evil Batman.
Right? Like,
basically.
Because, well, okay.
With a lot of mind-controlling drugs.
That's just true. But before we go into further detail, let's just go through some of the beats that occurred and get your thoughts on it. The opening, let's discuss that, and above all, what's his name, Biaquia Kuchiki, like his motivations to let Rukia die. Like, I was thinking about what I would want to put in the description, and the few things that kept coming into my mind were the words honor, tradition, and law. Like, this is the Gote 13. This is the afterlife. They are the ones that are supposed to maintain the balancer. The balance. They're known as the balancers. And if they don't follow, especially the four houses, if they don't follow the law and they don't ensure that if they can't follow the law, how can they ensure that others will be able to follow it, right? So
and they have to set an example
they have to set an example, exactly. So it throws you into a conundrum where it's like, what is the right thing to do? Like, do you save your sister, do you not? But we start off Episode 42, we start off with Yoruichi, the goddess of Flash. So we get to see how quick she is. We get to see who taught Kuchiki Biaquia the infamous Flash steps, and how quickly she overpowers this one captain that we've been like, we thought was like the apex, right? Because we're judging everyone's powers based on Kuchiki Biaquia throughout this entire series now, because he just stepped in, fucked up Ichigo, and from there on out, we're like, okay, so Renji is strong, but Byakuya's on another level. But she just kind of quickly overpowers him, takes Ichigo, knocks him out, and just disappears. Thoughts?
With Bakuya, it was like first season, you get wrecked by him inside your own home, where his power level was suppressed by like 5 times. Now finally, you got the second rematch, and he's still fucking. And you fight him on his turf now, and you see just how much of a monster that guy really is. Ichigo got his own power up and everything, but fuck this guy. Next level is next level.
100%. His Shikai. What did you think of Senbon Sakura?
Me?
It was gorgeous. I feel like go.
Oh, I was gonna say. Well, you continue because I was gonna go right after you. I didn't know if you were talking.
I was pretty much done. It was gorgeous and it looked cool, and that's all I was gonna say.
I actually, when I first saw Yoruichi, I thought she was like stronger than Biaquia. I don't know, like in some sense, I kind of had the feeling she is right, and even at that point, she was stronger. So at that point, when I saw her just immediately knock out Ichigo, when we're all just like, wait, this guy's the main protagonist. He just got knocked out so easily, and then you just see them like you see Biaquia just like, you know what, I'm not gonna move forward. This bitch is good. I mean, this person's gonna fuck me up, right? So she's.
Go ahead.
Oh, so she was just like, I don't know, like I really dug the girl characters in this show because like all of them were like super powerful, and like I actually like really liked a lot of them. Like holy shit, Orihime. Well, not Orihime, to be honest. Her power was kind of like
she does have the power to reject reality. So her powers
we don't really know
OP,
that early
on. Her powers OP, but like
think her
they
powers
build her
are
up.
shields and barriers. Like, whoa.
Yeah, but like in terms of Rukia, in terms of Soifan, Yoruichi,
Soifan was so cool. Like just her assassin ways, I was just like, damn, she's ruthless. So I really dug that scene and just seeing how, like, you know, and we know that Biaquia was the guy to be like, you know, basically the arch nemesis of that entire soul arc, right? So just seeing him just back off on Yoruichi was just like, whoa, like, okay, and gotta take this shit seriously.
That's it, right? Like the fact that they all knew her, so that was cool. They're like, okay, so something's off. They're genuinely shocked and surprised that she is aiding them. They didn't think about Urahara Kisuke yet. Ukitake was shocked. He's like, hold on, so you're here. I understand now why he has a captain level Ryatsu, but how does he have a captain level Ryatsu to begin with? This is crazy, but he also looks like Kai and Shiba. So is he from the Shiba clan? Like, what is going on? And then when Biaquia just says, I'm not gonna bother following her, it is what it is. I'll take the bait. She makes that claim. In 3 days, I will make him stronger than you. In 3 days, I will teach him bankai. That takes you 10 years to learn and over 100 years to master. That's a bold ass fucking claim. Absolutely.
I mean,
go ahead.
That's just insane too, because like you rarely even hear about bankais at that point either, right? Like it was like brand new subject of power that was being brought up at that point. So hearing that, like, you know, it takes hundreds of years from like an actual Soul Reaper who has a bankai saying I mastered it. I didn't even really master it, but I just have it. It's a bold claim from Yoruichi to say she'll teach him in 3 days.
there's only based on rewatching it back, there's only 3 captains that seem like they actually know the extent of their bankai. Later on, it's taught that yes, there's a few more like Korosuichi from Squad 12, like the mad scientist Shinigami. He created and altered his bankai, so it's a difference. But there's only 3 captains as so far that actually know the extent of their bankai, and it is head captain Yamamoto Genyusai, Ukitake, whose bankai we never get to really see, and Shinsui, because they were his pupils.
Didn't Tosin use his too?
Tosin used his bankai, but we don't know that his bankai, he actually has fully mastered his bankai. They never came out and actually said it. Because even Biaquia too, when he's talking about what exactly bankai is, and he's kind of slapping around Renji and kind of giving him like, bitch, you're not on my level yet. Like, you gotta go back and actually practice because you just attained this.
He wasn't ready.
You can tell that even Biaquia is like, yo, my bankai is still not perfected. But like you, on the other hand, you just attained a power, and there's no way, shape, and form you can fight me with that. So it's crazy. But the next episode, the despicable Shinigami Korosuichi, we find out that this guy is the one that really truly, like, I know later on he becomes a gray character. We like him because he has like a lot of things in his pocket that can alter the flow of the battle in his favor. But this is an evil fucking motherfucker, man. This guy used to fully do experiments on subjects that were maybe alive. Because it's kind of sort of alluded to the fact that Ishida's grandfather, he hacked them into pieces to try to see what goes on, how Quincy's actually work, and he may have been alive. You don't know.
He probably was alive.
But
judging from how that captain was like,
Mayuri, yeah.
I don't think he even does experiments on dead things. He probably only experiments on living things.
But evil man.
Oh yeah.
Evil man.
I want to know how he actually did experiments on his bankai. Like, how do you even do that? Did he just release it and then just started experimenting on it? Like, how does that even work?
He alters it. He alters his Zanpakuto. So
how do you alter a sword? Like, you just did it with a rock?
The spirit, with the spirit, yeah.
Oh.
Because the sword exactly is an Asauchi, right? Like, it's just a standard Zanpakuto issued out to everybody. And then your soul is imprinted on it. And that's what triggers it and becomes a Zanpakuto. But if your soul is imprinted on it, you're just altering you. That's why he changes his look and all that stuff. So I wonder maybe that's how it is.
Is that a certain form of maybe mastering his bankai though? Because like,
I think so.
Right?
I would say so.
Like no one else can really do that.
But that's his method. But they never mentioned it. This season, the only people they kind of alluded to that knew how to use their bankai on a different level are those 3. Not including Mayuri, because they took on Captain Yamamoto, and they're the oldest and the first captains when the academy started. So it just alluded to the fact that these 2 are going to be successor should something happen to head captain Yamamoto, right? But going into this fight, Theo, I know this was one of your favorite fights, which is Ishida versus Mayuri, and this man just fucking things up. How'd you feel?
It was like, Ishida could do shit before, but for him to take on captain level, like, even Ichigo wasn't able to take on Bankai at that point. But Ishida, I mean, it cost him a lot of shit. Like, I think his core got broken or something.
Yeah, he couldn't end up using his. Yeah, he couldn't end up using his. Wow, I'm blanking out. What are they called? Ishida Quincy's. Yes, thank you, Theo. But yes, he lost all his Quincy powers. Quincy powers. Yep. When he removed the glove and he broke the glove to allow him to absorb all that reishi in his body, he ultimately lost all of his powers.
Which later on you find out from other Quincy's telling him that was the stupidest thing you could have ever done.
Yeah. Because they had the Vastanding, the holy release form.
It was cool. Like,
go ahead, Theo. Theo, I think we may have lost Theo. Is he still moving?
Was I laughing that bad?
Yeah, you were. But yeah, go ahead with the fight. You were saying we haven't never seen anyone take on a captain level with a bankai before, and Uri was just going one-on-one. Is he lagging?
Yeah, practically one
He is
shot the guy at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Can you hear me?
You're
okay. I am lagging. You guys just go on.
We'll go on. We'll keep. We'll keep. But yes, Ferhad. Yeah, Theo's absolutely right.
Just go on.
One shot at him, like absolutely overtook this man's bankai back to back. Like it's crazy. That's how much power he was releasing, and Ichigo was never on that level yet.
Especially because his power was to absorb reishi, and everything around him was reishi at Soul Society. So seeing him just shoot that giant arrow, I was just like, holy shit!
Yeah, goes to the bankai, destroys the bankai, almost kills Mayuri. Only one that was able to do that much damage to a fucking captain in like 3 shots.
And later down the line, you're going to see how fucking deadly Mayuri is. So
exactly.
This battle still to this day is still like, holy shit, he beat Mayuri.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then after all of that is done, we take a step back and we really discuss who some of these lieutenants are. Momo, we're talking about Izuru, we're talking about Renji, who these lieutenants were, how exactly is the academy progressing, and in general, how badass, let's be real, Hitsugaya is. I mean, this guy is a fucking prodigy. And at that age, he's able to learn a bankai and become a captain, and his bankai is incomplete, essentially, but he still has a fucking bankai.
And his bankai is really well known too amongst everyone.
One of the strongest.
Sick as fuck.
Yes. No wonder he was a fan favorite for a very long time.
I mean, who else gets ice dragon wings?
Right?
Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. And he could release.
Sammo and Sakura look cool, but ice dragon wings and the tail. And he gets ice powers. I don't think anyone else has a ice bankai at this point.
At this point, no. There is one more person that will get it later on. But at this point, no. He can change the weather. He can influence like the way... It's insane. The fact you can influence the weather, it's absolutely insane. And then we dive into Rukia's past. And we get to learn about Cayenne Shiba. Who... He's related to Ichigo, but I liked him as a character. But I don't know, man. I don't think that did him justice, because the Shiba clan is supposed to be a really fucking strong clan. They're one of the noble families, right? You have Ichigo's dad. You have obviously him. You have his aunt, who Fukaku, I think her name is. With the cannons and everything, right? She's apparently insane when it comes to Kido. But he lost his wife. He lost his Zanpakuto. He still fought for his wife's memory. Absorbed that hollow. And Rukia ended up killing him. And this guilt is what she takes with him throughout the entire time. I like the fact that they started building on who these characters are slightly more. having hollows in Soul Society is quite rare. So them going to different areas, killing hollows, and then having a hollow that can take shape to anything and everything and can merge with your own soul. I wonder if that has any indication of what's upcoming, you know?
I do agree though with Kai and Shiba kind of being underwhelming because like he's supposed to be like the whole Shiba clan is supposed to be so strong, and just seeing him in like one flashback die to a hollow was kind of just like like what I kind of wanted like 4 Menos Grandes like shooting a fucking zero at him or some shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought a more elegant or a cooler way to die was a cooler way to happen, but whatever.
He deserved better, which is probably one of the reasons why he makes a return later on. Future spoilers.
True.
But
I agree. He definitely deserved a much cooler way to go out.
Yeah.
Like dying to a regular hollow, like what is he? A regular human?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, because later on when Aizen's discussing how long he's been making an attempt to make an Arenkar and really dissolve the barrier between Hollow and Shinigami, he mentions it that he's been experimenting on Hollows that can merge with a Shinigami soul, and they show the image of that Hollow and Kaya and Shiba. So we feel when we see the nightmare, we feel it's a regular Hollow, but it's alluded to later on that no, Aizen was behind it all along, as he always is, and it was not a regular Hollow. But I do think yes, they definitely deserved a bit better. But we have 2 fights. We've had Uryu versus Mayuri. We had fucking we had Uryu versus Mayuri, and we had the second one's actually coming. I apologize. The second one's actually coming, which ends up being Renji versus Biaquia. The Renji, Oath of the Soul, death match with Biaquia. I do not recall this fight being as long as it was.
Oh, I remember that fight being as long as it was. That was a difficult fight to look at.
Yeah,
for Renji.
Yeah, because I remember Renji getting annihilated by Byakuya's bankai, but I don't recall Renji continuously going after him even after that. That part I either wiped it out of my head, but like from memory completely. But kudos to Renji, he did not give up. He continued on. He showed that resolve that he wanted to save Rukia. Absolutely did not work. Byakuya destroyed him, even further so afterwards. And you see him first time ever doing his release where he grabs a sword from Senki and just kind of materializes it and just stabs Renji in. And it's hilarious because you never catch it. You never see the fact that if you're watching it for the very first time, that Byakuya just materializes a sword out of Senbo Sakura. He's never shown that before. He's let go of his sword. He had these flower petals, but he just makes a sword, stabs Renji at the very end where he's like, I'll give you an honorable death because I understand your feelings have reached me and everything, right? And here we are, Renji, man. What'd you think of his bankai?
I thought it was the worst bankai ever. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was the most it's just the same thing. It's just the same thing as a Shikai, but just bigger. That's all they did is just make his sword into a snake that's big. That's it.
What about you, Theo?
When I first saw it, I definitely thought it was really, really cool. Like, I mean, this guy, this underdog, whatever, that always felt inferior. He got a bankai, and he released it, and like you see all the bamboo sort of connections and the way that I can disconnect and whatever. It definitely felt like an upgrade of a Shikai. I mean, it wasn't until much later that you get disappointed by it, but at that point, I was pretty hyped.
His
and
laser
also
cannon?
regarding
His laser cannon from his bankai that he shoots.
Yeah. Oh, basically, he got new moves and whatever, so it was good enough for me. And it was enough to push Biaquia to show off the next level of his skill, so that was cool as well. But I do about the thing that you said about how long that fight took. I think the reason we forgot that is because from what we know of Biaquia, he just likes to do shit snappily. Like he doesn't hold back when he needs to get shit done. And for Biaquia to take that long against someone and not just execute them, yeah, it was a bit of a surprise rewatching it.
Because it's generally is Biaquia and Kenpachi that those fights are quick. Even for the manga. I mean, but Kenpachi literally had a fight that lasted what, 2 panels? So like Biaquia actually getting pushed, the whole point of him kneeling for the very first time, and Renji's like, I thought you said you're not gonna kneel, but I guess I made the mighty Kuchiki Biaquia kneel as well. Like that kind of stuff, like the back and forth talk, the smack talk that Renji had. I did dig that.
And you thought Renji had a chance at that time.
I honestly did not think. I think they're going to use Renji as a character to really display the power difference between bankais. I really thought that's how they're gonna. That's what Renji was there for. Because this man has had a few fights later on where he wins, but at that particular time, I didn't think he was. He was a prominent character, of course, because of a relationship with Rukia, but not to a point where I think he would have been able to even do a little bit of damage to Biaquia, because he was, he got wrecked. And I agree with Ferhad wholeheartedly. I did not think his bankai was. I thought it looked okay the first time I saw it. Biaquia, I was very curious because I'm like, what happened to all those swords? Like, that's it. It was just a one shot. He fucked Renji up. But yeah. Second fight.
When you put it like that, Renji was basically the rival character who loses all his fights, that Ichigo could come back and be like, so this is how much the main character is stronger than his rival.
100%. 100%. He was that gauge. He was that gauge, man.
He was the Vegeta.
The first season seemed like it was Uryu and Chad. The second season, it was definitely no one. They showed one fight with Chad. Uryu never had a fight.
Why was Chad even there to begin with? I don't understand.
It's done, right? Like this season, they're like, okay, let's just move on from this cast. Let's focus on the Soul Reapers. They seem like a lot cooler. And then right after that, getting back Rukia itself, you see her breaking with Gin Ichimaru, having that conversation with her on the bridge and saying, hey, do you want me to like set you free? I can kill all these guys and we can go. And that's it. And her giving her that little bit of hope that can something happen, and then just saying, oh, nope, just joking. See you later. Absolutely breaking her. That guy, man. Oof.
Fucking Gin
Ichimaru, man.
Those eyes.
100%. And then the strongest Shinigami. There's the episode that I want to touch base on, but that's before it. We'll come back to it. Ultimate confrontation between the teacher and students. That's the next fight right after this. But the oath accomplished, get back Rukia. What'd you guys feel of that? Like Ichigo coming last moment, stopping the
strongest Zanpakuto or whatever.
Yes, the 1 million Zanpakuto, Sogyoku Hill. So Sogyoku with 1 Zanpakuto, and everyone's thrown off. Like, what the hell is going on? This guy takes on 3 lieutenants, bare hands, right off the bat. We're like, okay, so there are Renji level. He's done it. He somehow surpassed the Renji level. And he just Biaquia goes in, goes for the kill shot. Ichigo quickly stops him. He's like, I can see your move, and has a smile on his face. What'd you guys think of Ichigo's entrance?
Fucking epic.
Yeah, that
The
was
new
really cool.
clothes and everything.
The cape or the little cloak he was wearing. Oh
Yeah.
my god! Even though it was like short lived, he beat up those fucking vice captains. He beat up like 3 vice captains while having that cloak on.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, this motherfucker's cool.
100%, man. Ichigo, I don't think has ever. There's a few seasons where his entrances are like, oh, amazing. There's one later on that I cannot wait for it to be animated, where he first challenges Yuha Bak, and he throws his Zanpakuto and his Tensazanga to lands, and he takes it out, and you see his cape, tattered cape, him bleeding, Soul Society in ruins, and Yuha just fucks him up. But that entrance was awesome. Here too, him and like this entrance, oof, he has 2 good, really cool entrances this season. First one being this one. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But the fight that I wanted to mention, that before I jump into the teacher versus students, is Tosin Kamamura taking on fucking Kenpachi. Because I absolutely loved this fight. Watching it back again, reading it in the manga is one thing, but seeing it, how ridiculous Kenpachi is. Take 2 bankais.
2 bankais at
2
once.
bankais at once.
And he doesn't even have a Shikai.
So
Yes, he
Just
can.
raw strength.
pure raw strength. Pure raw strength.
And for him, it's just like, oh, 2 bankais? Oh, this is new. Let's see if this is enough to amuse me.
The way you see him figure out Tosin's bankai too, and it didn't even take him fucking long to figure it out either. Like the way Tosin's bankai works is that he makes this like giant bubble, and if you're in that bubble, you're just stuck like this. And so the only way
your
you can
senses,
move,
your senses are thrown off. It's pitch black. You can't hear. You can't see.
Yeah.
That's
That's
you can't
it.
feel anything.
you're basically just stuck in like, yo, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on? You can kind of move, but like you don't know what's going on because everything's pitch black.
So
You have no
Like,
sense
when
of
you
anything.
move, you don't even know you're moving because you can't see you're moving.
So
The only
it's
way you can sense it is if you have the sword.
which was what he was doing. He every time he got slashed, he's like, okay, so this is where he is, and an instinct reflex tried to cut him over and over again. But how quickly he dismantled his fucking bankai was insane. Because
So quick.
he's supposed to be another captain level. What'd you think of his bankai though, Tosin?
I guess one-on-one, I guess like it's good, but when you see Kenpachi figure it out, you start seeing like a lot of flaws in that bankai. So I thought it was okay. It was better than Renji's in my opinion.
Suzume Mushi, yeah, I agree. I do think it was better. It was 100% better than Renji. Renji just seemed like it was a lot of destructive power, but even it felt slow. When Renji's throwing it, it felt slow. Here, it's just like instant. If you're caught in, you're good luck. Because if you ain't Kenpachi, you ain't leaving, son.
Yeah,
This
if you're not quick thinking, you're dead.
You're dead.
Like, it was one of those where it sounded really cool, but when you actually see him use the bankai in execution, it doesn't look that cool. That kind of thing. But
I wish the bubble was a little bigger.
I completely agree.
Yeah, look at the way that Kanpachi managed to overcome it. Guy lives and breathes pain just for the fuck
And
of
battles.
Oh, he loves it, right? And then we have one of these characters, which I feel bad. He has one cool moment, but otherwise he's a full-on punching bag for all the captains. Mr. Komamura, his bankai, Kyojo Tenging Miu.
I thought it was cool at first. But then when you hear him explain it, you're like, ugh.
Any damage on him is inflicted also on his bankai, but the specialty is when his body heals, his bankai heals. So, which we later on find out that once a bankai is broken, it's broken. You can't fix a bankai. Like, you ultimately shattered your spirit. But his bankai, at first summoning this gigantic dude, it's like, how are you gonna stop? And Kenpachi just laughing his ass off in pure joy that he's gonna take on this massive behemoth. Loved it. Cut short, but absolutely loved it. But this is the thing. See, we've had Yoruichi's little scuttle with Biaquia. We've had Uryu versus Mayuri. We've had Renji versus Biaquia. And now we have this guy, Kenpachi, taking on Tosin and Kamamura. A lot of captain on captain fights. And then we hit a big one. A fucking behemoth. We're talking about Shinsui and Ukitake taking on Ryujin Jaka, the head commander Yamamoto Genryusai. His fire sword, the strongest Zanpakuto in the creation of Soul Society. And this guy, when he releases it and takes off his robe, and you see how buff he is with his little, and it's then you too, like what they were alluding to is gonna look really cool. Because when you see the anime, it's like multiple, it's like 3 different takes of his body, just showing you all the cuts and everything, gigantic beard, and he's just ready to beat these young yuppies, these young kids. Well, the way he phrases it, he wants to beat these kids up just to teach them a lesson. Because he is not happy that they are there again. They came in. Ukitake came in when Ichigo stopped Sogyoku. They created this rope around it, and they destroyed the Sogyoku. So now he's going to lay down some law. What do you guys think of Yamamoto's release and his bankai? Well, his shikai.
Amazing. You don't really see a fire shikai or any flame users. So to see that the captain commander is basically the only flame user, right?
Yeah.
To be the only flame user, and like just seeing how fucking strong the head captain is, because you like some of the captain levels don't really matter, right? Like first level is Soifon, right? But I feel like Kenpachi can probably beat Soifon, and he's like what, number 13. So the numbers don't really matter in that sense. But seeing Yamamoto, I'm like, okay, so he's definitely the fucking head.
He's the head.
No one better fuck with him.
He looks at Shinsui's lieutenant, and she forgets, and he tells her, he's like, leave at once because I don't have time to teach you how to breathe. Because she could not figure out what, it's just him looking at her, the density of his ryatsu. She felt it. And whereas
her.
Exactly, it terrified her completely, right? And then you see fucking Shinsui and Ukitake just, all right, the only 2 Zanpakuto, which we find out later on is a lie. The only 2 users, Shinigamis, that have twin blades.
They're the only 2, yeah.
Yeah, Katen Kyuketsu and Sonio Mari, I think it's called. Let me see what Ukitake's release is like.
Doesn't he just take the energy from one side and shoots
it back? Yeah. All waves rise now, become my shield. Lightning strike now and become my blade. That's his incantation. But yes, this guy, man. Yeah, I just wish he did more stuff. He did more things in the goddamn
how
show.
much fight there was, yeah.
He's just kind of there sometimes.
Yeah. But them taking on head captain Yamamoto, everyone's freaking the fuck out because now the Serite is in complete disarray. Captain has died. These Ryokas are showing up, and this one Ryoka is going through and beating the fuck out of everybody. He's a captain level, so lieutenants are scared shitless. They can't stop him, and there's infighting amongst the captains. What's your thought process so far for this season? Pretty fucking cool, right?
Yeah, very cool. I love it that it's so different from. I love that even back in the day that it was so different from other animes that we used to watch.
Because it's not all about the main character. I like the fact that there was a hype. You didn't know who to cheer for because everyone's abilities are new. You want to see everyone's Shikai, you want to see everyone's bankai. You're kind of sort of rooting for Kenpachi because he's just a beast. But even with Yamamoto,
didn't Kenpachi kind of join Ichigo's side at one point?
he did. So he was kind of sort of, he was pretty much out for himself. He's helping him out.
He was helping like their friends and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But no friendship power here. No family power.
Only raw strength.
Yeah, only raw strength. But it was to the point where you liked the fact that you were kind of thrown off with everyone's bankai, everyone's shikai, and they're fighting each other. You're like, okay, yeah, Ichigo's cool. He has this thing. We're definitely gonna come back to him. But let's really focus on these things. Like, what is happening? What is going on with these captains? I really, really dug it. I really enjoyed it, and especially the next fight. Oh my fucking god! It really, really cemented how good and like Bleach got in terms of animating certain fights. Because the next fight is Supersonic Battle, determine the goddess of battle. It is Soifan versus Yoruichi. Talk to me, Ferhad. Talk to me about this.
Oh, I'll talk to you about this. The two badass ladies that I was talking about earlier start fighting each other. Let me tell you something. These two are probably like the strongest.
Stealth Force,
right?
yeah,
like,
Stealth Force, straight
yeah,
up.
Stealth Force is basically the strongest division, right?
No, but they were the only one that did what they did. They're the only one that specialized in
assassinations. That's the thing. That's their key. Their Stealth Force is what once that's been issued out. Yeah, you're fucked. They're coming at you. But go ahead, Fred.
So seeing them initially fight, you kind of see them just using basically taijutsu. That's what I'm going to call it from any anime, because basically taijutsu hand to hand, and like you start seeing like the difference in like, you know, you find out during the fight that she was the captain division first, Yoruichi, and that Soifan was basically her mentor. No, was Yoruichi's mentor. Wait,
no, Soifan was.
Forget about me. Someone else go on. I'm jumbled.
Underling sort of.
Yes, Soifan was meant to protect. She was Yoruichi's guardian, basically. She was her bodyguard. She was meant to protect Yoruichi with her life. Yoruichi took a liking to her. She thought of her as a younger sister. They developed a bond. She taught her how to fight, how to get better, and then she just left for 100 years. Didn't say bye, didn't say anything, just left. And now Soifan not just wants to prove to her that she no longer needs her. She has become extremely strong, and it is all because of the fact that she felt betrayed, which we find out at the end of the fight that all she wanted was her. She wanted
a hug.
She wanted her older sister back. She's like, why didn't you ask me? I would have gone with you. You just left me. She felt betrayed. But we get to learn about this different type of keto. Different elements. Soifan has a wind one. Yoruichi has a lightning one. And she says that even though she can't control it, that's the reason why she doesn't carry a Zanpakuto. It's Shunko. It's a nuke. Pretty much. With lightning. Yeah. It's insane. Like she's like, there's a reason why our clothing's different. We don't have shoulder pads and arms and so forth, because all of our Ryatsu is released from the back, so there's no point. We're gonna end up ruining our clothes anyways. But Soifan Zanpakuto Suzubemashi, what did you think of that? Two stings in the same area, and you're dead.
I thought that was fucking broken. Like if I was thinking about that like a game, and I heard like, oh, I'm gonna stab you twice and you're dead, I would have been like, okay, I'm gonna report you because you're clearly cheating. So I thought she had like one of the coolest Zanpakuto abilities that I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for her division 2, like she needs that kind of stuff.
Iron Will, man.
It sounded really cool at first, but if you look at if you look at it as a whole, like Biaquia speed and everything else, it's like, how is she able to hit anyone at the same place twice.
Well,
I mean, the
that's
only one that would let her would probably be Kenpachi. But if he knew what it does, I mean,
he would
that's
just
not gonna
block. He
happen.
would just block it out with Ryatsu, right? He would just release so much Ryatsu
Yeah.
He
that
would
it
just
pushes
let her
back.
hit him in a different place.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I thought it was really cool. I thought it fit her completely. She was an assassin. 2 stings, and you're dead. Loved it, absolutely. And the way the fight itself was choreographed, it reminded me of Naruto. Like, it's like straight hand to hand taijutsu. I agree with you, because
I want to make a joke on that about it being a cat fight since Yoruichi used to be a cat. But yeah,
okay, but from there we jump to the best fucking fight in the entire season. And Farhad, if you disagree, I will fight you on this because it is Biaquia versus Ichigo. The fight that we have been waiting for, the fight that is no longer about just saving Rukia because it's done. But Ichigo stays back to definitively beat Biaquia to send a message that back the fuck off. You're no longer going to come after her. Because if we just run, you're going to chase after her anyways. So I am going to stand here and I'm going to definitively beat you. It's a battle of different ideologies. It's a battle between honor, law, and whether or not the law applies. It's a battle about family. Like that's the other. It's about family. And above all, it's about tradition. I loved the fact.
wait.
Sorry,
Let me say, it's a battle about family and being how fast you are.
Yes, it is about how fast you are because it was all about flash step. But I loved the fact that Biaquia, this guy has such a calm demeanor throughout the entire series so far. And he snaps at Ichigo once he realizes Ichigo has bankai, and Ichigo's like, "Go! Oh, you want me to go faster? I'll go faster." And he hits him twice, and he's like, "Okay, now I'm gonna crush you with every fucking thing I have because clearly none of our traditions matter to you." I love the fact that he broke Biaquia. He's like, bankai is attainable with a few chosen people every several hundred years that are born in one of the blessed families, the 4 noble families. And 1 in 6 people are able to attain it in those families. And then it takes you 10 years to actually gain it. It takes you 100 years to master it. That is what bankai is. It's the apex of what your spiritual pressure can do as a Shinigami. So how is this 15-year-old kid who's not even a Shinigami from the real world, who got his powers that were borrowed to begin with, able to attain this power to challenge me on my customs? I didn't know how Biaquia did not just smack Ichigo. There was so much disrespect. Everything that you've ever earned, everything that you ever known, this man is there as a fucking catalyst and just spitting at your face, saying none of this matters.
What Ichigo had was just his natural born super high Ryatsu.
That's it. Later on, we find out that he is from the Shiba clan. So a lot of stuff that Biaquia was discussing applies to Ichigo. This is why he's a prodigy in a different way, which makes sense why his Yatsu is so huge. But I loved it. I loved the fact that it was a battle between 2 ideologies. But there is one element that really makes this fight so fucking good. Is Ichigo's hollow powers come out for the very first time. White shows up mid-fight when Ichigo's losing because Ichigo doesn't know how to control his bankai. Something very similar to what happened with Renji. And he's just fighting pure with will. And his entire Ryatsu of his bankai is crushing him. So Biaquia almost gets a kill hit. And White shows up, stops it, and just starts shooting out all these Getsuga Tenchos, these black Getsuga Tenchos, in such high speed. Yeah, in such a high speed that Biaquia can catch him and almost kills Biaquia. Thoughts, please. Yes, the hollow form. I really want to know. How'd you guys feel?
I definitely think you could use that bankai better.
100%. 100%. But go ahead, Theo.
Ferhad, you can finish first.
So I thought it was cool. I thought the White coming out and basically destroying Biaquia was amazing because he was losing at that point, right?
He was losing.
Yeah, he was losing before that, and he just pops up out of nowhere, and he's like, "Okay, Ichigo, stand back. Let me show you how to do this shit. All right? I'm gonna fight the same guy as you and injured. I'm gonna whoop his ass," and he did that.
Like 3-4 hits. That's all it took.
And Biaquia is already on the level of Ichigo, and Biaquia was fucking him up in that fight before White came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was just literally because he did the bubble, his second form of his bankai,
Senkai, yeah.
Senkai, and what that does is basically it's just like a circle of swords all around. And I know what you're thinking. No, they do not all at once go at him.
Yeah,
although that would be pretty cool, but it would be broken at the same time.
That's later on. Later on,
yeah.
He learns how to do that. But that's the thing. 100 years to master bankai. Biaquia hasn't done it. Biaquia says he lets go of every single defensive and it's pure offensive. I only show it to people that I have resolved to kill. You're the second person who's seeing this, and that's it.
Yeah, and so him going into that space, basically what that does also to the enemy is that it slows them down, right? Compared to Biaquia?
No.
I think it neutralizes their speed to be.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because I thought the same thing too. Rewatching all of this and seeing it, the reason why Ichigo became slower was because his body was at his limit. That's Biaquia says it openly. He's like, I have not gained any speed boost or anything at all. So Ichigo's like, does that mean I'm getting slower? He's like, yeah, because you're human. You attained bankai just now. You have all these injuries and everything. Your body's dying. So you are getting crushed by your own spiritual pressure, which is the reason why you're getting slower and slower and slower. Crazy. Biaquia is just pure offensive with his flash step, which is why he mastered flash step. I was under the same impression that people end up getting slower. But yeah, that's not apparently the case. Crazy. So Biaquia is the beast.
Maybe
I
wonder if maybe they said a little different in the English dub then, because that's what I remember it from.
Mm-hmm. No, I watched it in English dub. So reading the manga, going back reading the manga and checking it out, yeah, it's not making him slower. It's just Ichigo was just getting slower because of his injuries. But that's the other thing too. Ichigo going bankai, attaining bankai, going through all of this and still fucking keeping up with all those injuries. I did like the fact when he destroyed the Sogyoku Hill, he destroyed that post. Yeah. He did the same thing with his Shikai that White was doing. He started swinging it with the bandage. And the first time ever Getsuga Tensha is released in bankai is White once again. It's always Ichigo's hollow form showing him how to do these things. But I like the fact that they showed a few things of hollow throughout, but this was it. This cemented the fact that, Ichigo is something else. He's not just a Shinigami. There's something else in there. He's blurred that line between hollow and Shinigami powers.
And he's the special one. For me, that fight, for me, it really started when Ichigo started shit talking at the end. Like Baki was asking, Ichigo, oh, can you match my speed? And then Ichigo, he took Bakuya's back and was like, what do you mean? I'm already behind you.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, it's on. Now Bakuya has to step up his game. What are they going to show us?
The bankai itself looked different than every single other bankai we've seen. It's not super elaborate. He looks exactly like Zangetsu with a black coat, Shihakusho, and he has a small, thin blade. Tensou
This
Zangetsu.
old massive one.
That's it. And it's just like looking at it, how quick he was. And Biaquia being thrown off, saying miracles only happened once. You should slash my throat. To Ichigo coming back and saying, so what do you call it? If a miracle happens the second time, what do you call it then? To a point where he knocks off every single Senbon Sakura blade with his sword. That scene is edged in my mind, man. Watching it for the very, very first time and not realizing how cool it looked, because I told you guys before, like, I used to go to this tutor for calculus, and this guy was all about anime. This was the guy that I used to sit next to, and he was reading Bleach. He was in the Erenkar arc when this was being animated, and he told me, he's like, and I asked him, I'm like, okay, I don't want to know what Ichigo's bankai looks like, but is it cool? How huge is it? It's like, yeah, it's nothing like you would think. I was like, really? He's like, I'm like, is it underwhelming? He's like, no, bro, it's not underwhelming. You're gonna love it, but it's nothing like you think it would be. And then he does his bankai. I saw his bankai, and I went to the manga and I read the entire fight, because I just could not wait. How I wanted to know exactly how Ichigo beats him. And even then, because we were reading it wasn't the official sub, sub for the mangas. There was a few translation errors and so forth, so I didn't know exactly how Ichigo defeated Biaquia, because the sword just seemed like it just kind of melted. But it lived up, man. Watching it in the anime week after week, it really fucking lived up to the hype.
Definitely one of the coolest fights. Definitely, even like after all the entire series, it's definitely still up there.
I agree, because like majority of the fights at that time were like within one episode, maybe two.
Yeah.
This was 3.
And this one had 2 phases as well. It was first he overwhelmed everything that Bakuya threw at him, show that you can do nothing against me. And then Bakuya was like, all right, time for the second trick up my sleeve. The bounded barrier.
Let's release Senkei, and then at the very end, his white dragon thing. And then he defeats him.
And he uses his Kido at the same time.
Yeah, merges everything together to just go at it. And Ichigo still, his spiritual pressure is so much that it overtakes it and dissolves it. So Biaquia loses, talks about the fact that he needs to honor the law. The 4 noble families has to follow it. He will no longer chase Rukia, and Ichigo has win. And then we dive into one of the worst massacres I've seen.
Wait, did Ichigo win or did White win?
That's a very good question, because technically it was White that came out and saved his ass.
But who dealt the final blow?
Yes.
That's what matters most.
Ichigo pouring all of the Ryatsu into one final attack. Yes. We'll say
it's like,
we'll say it's a tie.
That's it? That's all you got? It shows them this is how you do. This is what you're supposed to do.
It makes sense, right? Because like, think about it. Ichigo had such insane amount of spiritual pressure that when he's trying to hold it in his body, it's gonna crumble him. It's gonna break him. So the easiest thing to do is release it, and release it at a person, which is Getsuga Tensho. So the fact that he had insane amount of speed, he's meant to deliver quick blows and overwhelm his enemy completely. So Ichigo was not using the bankai.
Blows.
Yeah. And he was not using his bankai accurately whatsoever. And then sorry, go ahead.
About his look, the half mask, that was my favorite look of Ichigo, period. Overall, for everything, it was the half mask.
The half mask fully. What about you? What about you, Theo? Ferhad?
Yeah, the half mask.
Half mask? Okay.
Every time White came out, it was like probably one of my favorite moments, because he's just so cool. He's so ruthless. He just doesn't give a fuck.
I'm very, very, very interested to see how they're going to animate Ichigo's final look when he merges everything together, and he has a horn and he has eye, like it's half and half with his Shinigami and well, actually technically it's his Arankar and his Quincy powers. So let's see. But on that note, Aizen Sosuke, Toshiro Hitsugaya goes bankai. We get to see this epic bankai, and And
And just gets slashed.
Sasuke Aizen just crushes it. Walks through it, just crushes it. Okay. Gin's been working for Aizen. Tosen's been working
Aizen's
for
not
Aizen.
dead, actually. Let's bring that up.
Yes.
Aizen's not dead.
What did you think of that?
I kind of had a feeling he wasn't dead. I had a feeling that it was just so bait the way he died. It's just like something else was going on. He's not actually dead.
I thought so too. I didn't think that he was dead, but I didn't think he was a mastermind behind everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think he was the mastermind behind everything. I did think that he was still alive. I thought he was like a part of the person that was making all the decisions, but I didn't know that he was making all the decisions.
And then we get something that will set up the rest of the story, which is it's always been Aizen versus Urahara Kisuke. It's always been those two duking it out. Battle of the fucking brains, man. And I loved it because it's a lot of vibes from Endwalker. Spoilers. But I'm not gonna dive into spoilers. Don't worry, Theo. You're still good. But it's always been about that. They were dealing. They wanted to create an item, figure out a way how to get rid of the barrier between Shinigami and Hollows. And Aizen went one way, infusing Shinigami powers into a Hollow, whereas he went the other way and is infusing Hollows into Shinigamis. And the Hogakyu that he created, he was so worried that it would be used that he ended up sealing it inside of Rukia. And that is what Aizen has been wanting for the longest time. And he mentions it too. There's 4 different techniques that a basic Shinigami can master. It's Zanjutsu, Hakudo, Hado, and which is Shimpo and so forth, and Kido. And he's mastered all 4. Aizen's on a point where he says that I don't want to crush you because it's like crushing an ant. And he wants to attain even more power. And the only way he can break that is by breaking the barrier between him and Hollows. So then we get some of the coolest things, guys. I don't know if you guys think it's in anime history, but this reveal was completely threw me off, and just the badassery that is Aizen Sosuke. He went through captain after captain to finally the second coolest entrance from fucking Ichigo, stopping Aizen's blade as he's about to cut off Renji's arms because he's showing him mercy by granting his final wish, which is he does not want to let go of Rukia. So he's like, okay, I will do that. Your arms, I will make sure they're still attached to Rukia, but the rest of your body has to go. And Ichigo comes in and stops that hit fully in bankai. And looking at Aizen, and we're like, yes, let's go. Ichigo with his bankai. And Aizen stops it with one finger.
Just like that. It's done. And he's just covered in blood.
One finger. This...
For all the fights that we had before, all the power we've been shown, it was all just condensed in one finger.
One finger. He stopped it with one fucking finger. And it's crazy because throughout the entire manga going forward, that infamous fucking one finger stop we used to just gauge how strong Aizen's powers are. Like every single time people were like, well, he stopped it with one finger. So when Ishin's flicking Aizen through everything, he has a Hogyuku and everything. How strong has he gotten? And that was what they used to gauge it. Every forum I read, everything all together, Ichigo's bankai was stopped with a bankai. Not Ichigo, even though he was one of the fastest, a bankai was stopped by one finger. That's how much his Ryatsu is. And the hollows come down. He fucks up Komamura again.
That moment when he stopped it with one finger reminded me a lot of Dragon Ball Z when Trunks first tested out Goku. It was just like that as well. Like you see Trunks and all the shit that he pulled off, murdered Frieza and whatever. And then he goes to test Goku is just could not penetrate his defense with just one with a sword.
With one finger, yeah, just stopping it altogether. And then the Hollow's coming down and
Basically
taking
sweeping him away.
Yeah, back. And Hollows only come back and use that technique when they're protecting their own. They create a pocket dimension.
Which makes you think that he's already made connections with Hollows.
100%. So how long has he been doing this for? Right?
Find out next time on Starting Falls.
But yes, after that final episode, Rukia's resolution, Ichigo's feeling, Rukia decides to stay back. Everyone is trying to get back to just regular business, fixing up the Seirete that's caused so much destruction after Aizen's left. They no longer have 3 fucking captains, so they're in shambles. They got to figure out what the vacancies are going to be. Urahara, Kisuke, and Yoruichi are no longer seen as these defectors. And Rukia decides that she's going to stay back. She's going to stay back and she's going to learn how to get her spiritual powers back. And yeah, we end that season and the gang, the cast 5 of Bleach, they return back to the human world. This season is 100% one of the best seasons I have seen throughout Bleach.
Yeah.
I want to see if there's another season coming up, if it's going to live up to that hype. And it is the fights in the fake Karakura Town arc. I want to see, watching it back to back, if it actually does live up to the hype. Because there's a lot of fights in there too that were long awaited. But up to now, holy shit. Holy shit. The matchups were amazing. The powers were amazing. Ichigo's growth and finally his resolve leading to Bankai was amazing. Biaquia's reasoning. And ultimately, which one thing we forgot to mention, Biaquia saves Rukia. Aizen's about to kill him. Sorry, not Aizen. Gin's about to kill him once he stops Ichigo and almost cuts him in half. Gin turns around. Shinso does it. And Biaquia takes the hit close to his heart and saves Rukia. Epic proportions, guys.
Super cool.
Even it wasn't just the fights that were awesome. The opening is still my favorite one.
We did not even touch the opening. Yes, Ichiro no Hana. What'd you guys think of the opening?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember the opening.
Okay.
For me, it really set up the atmosphere for the entire season.
I agree
with
you.
Watching it every time before the show started, I always caught it on TV. It got me hyped up for what's going to happen every episode.
Yeah, the fight in the opening when Biaquia is fighting Ichigo, and Ichigo is just like the way he's moving to kind of stop him effortlessly. It was cool. It was really, really cool. Especially you see Biaquia releasing all the swords, Ichigo just holding the Zanpakuto down and just releasing this power, and it cuts, and you see the Hollow's arms coming out. They gave you so much foreshadowing all throughout. I really dug it. Wow, everything. I just shook everything all together. Hello. To the audio listeners, I accidentally kicked my table, so everything was shaking. But yes, I really like the opening. So I don't think it's my favorite. My favorite's probably it's way further on when Ichigo's finally taking on Aizen. I loved that opening, especially in Beat Saber. I learned how to do Expert Plus. But yeah. Any final thoughts, guys, before we start? We need to start ranking these seasons, which I'm pretty sure this is going to be really easy to rank, but we're going to start anyways. But any final thoughts before we jump into rankings?
No final thoughts. I can't wait for the new season coming out. I definitely thought this is the best season of the 3 Soul arcs. So yeah, I out of all of that, I think Kenpachi was definitely my favorite character. I love Kenpachi.
What about you,
One
Theo?
of my favorites for sure. Yeah, it can pack so many new characters, and all of them were so cool. And this season, the way that it ended, I think just got you so hyped to see what comes next. And it was because of how, because I waited for what comes next that I finally went and checked the manga.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think the Aizen Sosuke reveal is one of the greatest. It's I mean, Itachi's another one that was really cool, and Itachi's always compared to the Snape reveal in Harry Potter. And here there's one more reveal that's going to come that's going to completely shock you. Future spoilers, so can't really say much. But it is one captain that you finally find out his motives. But oh my god, Aizen being that strong, oof, 100% agree. It definitely was my favorite season so far. So for me, the rankings the way it goes, we'll name it out, and you guys tell me where would you guys place them. And next week, next episode, what I'll do is I'll actually have it on the video itself on the site. So as we're going ahead and we're ranking them, it pops up so we can see it. So we don't have to remember all 15 fucking seasons. It's 15 or 16 seasons, how we rank them. But so far, I would say for me, it's 3-2-1. Third season being the first best season, second one being the second best, and obviously the first one being the lowest right now.
At this point in time, it just kept getting better and better every time.
So 3-2-1 for all both of you.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Well, that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck around for the entire video, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you like, please turn on the notification as well. Whenever we release something new, it will be notified to you right off the bat. We have a Patreon where you can subscribe and help support this channel. We would truly appreciate that. And we also are available on podcast services throughout around the globe on Google, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we are there. If there's any, you comment down below, let us know which season was your favorite, what thoughts, which fights you like the best, what did you think of the Aizen Sosuke reveal, and above all, did Ichigo's bankai live up to the hype? I think so. I think we all agree that it was one of the coolest bankais we've seen overall.
Totally different.
So comment down below and let us know. But with that says, as always, send you guys nothing but good vibes from your friends at Cast 5. Ciao.
Yes.